Hello again. In this lecture you will learn about how to ensure that the components of an HVAC system are as clean as possible from the start, but also during operation in order to deliver as clean as possible air to the designated spaces. In a European project named Airless, partly funded by the European Union, which took place in the period between 1998 and 2000, the air pollutant effect of several components of HVAC systems were tested, both with trained panels that evaluated perceived air quality and with common measurement equipment. The outcome showed that especially the filters and the ducts, but also humidifiers and rotating heat exchangers, had the potential to pollute the air, if not designed and maintained properly. Let's start with bag filters, the most used filter type in ventilation systems of office buildings, which remove dust particles from the air. From studies we know that both new and used bag filters can pollute the air. New filters, because the material itself emits volatile organic compounds, VOC, causing bad odors. And used filters, because microorganisms grow on the filter material and can be a major source of pollution, especially when the filter becomes wet. Additionally, when the filter is saturated, it is seen that filtered dust and dirt can break through and move along with the air in the HVAC system. To prevent these pollution effects, the following tips for design and use can be recommended. Select a low-polluting new filter, for example a glass fiber filter instead of a cellulose filter, and select the appropriate filter class. You can select the appropriate filter system for filtering particles according to the different classification systems. In this scheme, you can find 3 of them. The particle filters normally used to filter fine dust are named F7, F8 or F9. In air handling units of clean rooms and operation theaters, usually HEPA or ULPA classified filters with a higher number are used, while filters that are used in the air inlet to protect the system from larger particles usually have a lower number, M5 or M6 for example. Once you have selected the appropriate filter, you install this filter properly, without leaks around the frame and the ceiling seat. To prevent filters from becoming a source of pollution, it is important to give microorganisms no chance, therefore keeping the filter dry. This can be established by a proper layout of the air intake section to prevent rain and snow entering the HVAC system. By heating the supply air with a preheater or heating the filters for a certain period of time. And by preventing filter bags from lying on the bottom of the filter section when the HVAC system is not in operation. Next to keeping the filters dry, it is important to change the filter on time, preferable when the system is off. Depending on the situation, traffic and other sources, this is once every 3 to 12 months, but in general every 6 months for highly polluted areas and once per year for low polluting areas. Then humidifiers. Humidifiers increase the amount of water in the air. Humidification can be accomplished with water, such as the spray nozzle humidifier and the adiabatic humidifier shown here, or with steam. Badly installed and or badly maintained humidifiers can pollute the air. In particular, microorganisms play an important role in this polluting effect. But disinfecting and demineralization devices or agents can also contribute to polluting the passing air. For energy use purposes, it is recommended to avoid using humidification. If humidification is required, then it is recommended to use a steam humidifier, because steam humidifiers give microorganisms such as Legionella, no chance to grow. When you select a steam humidifier, add a mineral reservoir and avoid condensation in ducts by correct design and installation. In case of a humidifier with water, minimize the deposit and/or formation of minerals by making use of demineralized water or a good removal system, and refresh water regularly. Now, for all systems, it is recommended to clean regularly, every 6 months, dry or wet, or at the start and end of an out-of-use period. Heat recovery can be an efficient way to save energy while maintaining a good quality of the indoor environment. The aim of heat recovery is the recovery of heat from return air by the supplied air. A number of appliances are available to recover heat from air used from ventilation. With the exception of rotating heat exchangers, those heat recovery appliances are no source of pollution because of their closed nature. In a rotating heat exchanger, the warm air return air heats the wheel, and by turning the wheel, it reaches the air supply side, where the supply air is heated and sometimes also humidified. In this way, rotating heat exchangers may transport pollutants from the supply to the return side when in use. If you decide to use a rotating heat exchanger anyway, and don't find it a problem that certain odors are recirculated, the following tips might help to reduce the transport of pollutants. To minimize or prevent absorption on the surface of the wheel, it is recommended to avoid the use of hygroscopic wheels, because odors and other pollutants are more easily absorbed on such surfaces. Then, it is important to prevent leakage from return to supply by installing a heat exchanger with a purging chamber on the hot side of the wheel, and by correct installation of the wheel. Finally, you should keep the supply air clean by installing filters in both ducts upwind of the heat exchanger to avoid clogging of the wheel and improve the supply air quality. As with the humidifiers and filters, it is of course also important to inspect and maintain regularly. For all of these components, it is of course important to prevent outdoor air pollution to enter the system by selecting the location of the air inlet not too close to a source of pollution. For example, not nearby the ground or nearby an outlet of another or the same system. When the inlet is too close to an outlet, short-circuiting can occur, and thus reuse of air. In the case outdoor air pollutants are nearby an inlet, for example frequently passing traffic, try to close down the system by monitoring the presence of certain compounds, such as nitrogen oxides. In any case, make sure that an appropriate filtering system is present. To summarize this lecture, you learned about how to keep bag filters, humidifiers, and rotating heat exchangers clean, and ensure delivery of clean air to the designated spaces. Thank you again for your attention.